All right, it is Wednesday, May 10th, so 10 days into the new month. This is the Team SB call, and we have our guest speaker tonight is Nicole. I'm super excited for you guys to hear her story and everything that she has gone through to get to where she is today. It's such a powerful story if you guys have not heard it so far, so I'm not going to say anything about it because I want her to be the one to tell it. But before we get into that, does anybody have any recognition that they want to do for this week? Go ahead, Katie.
I don't know if any of them are on here yet, but I wanted to shout out. So actually, I have two of my girls. They're leveling up tomorrow. So we have Caitlin, who will be leveling up, and then also Stephanie, who literally also, I need to shout her out because she's killing it. She's surpassed me so far with Success Club. She hit Success Club 8 in a matter of like 3 days, and they're both killing it. So just shouting them out.
Awesome. Way to go, guys. Anybody else have anything?
I'll go. I want to shout out Victoria. She's on here. She's going to be 3 on one side and 2 on the other. So leveling up to Emerald 2.
Yay, Victoria.
And I also want to shout out Jen. As of right now, tomorrow she'd become Ruby, but I know she's still pushing. She just needs one more discount coach and she will be popping diamonds. So hopefully a bigger announcement tomorrow, but I know she's still working hard.
Yay, awesome. Anybody else? I have some, but I'll wait until, okay. Well, I want to congratulate Rachel Dennison. I see her on here. Rachel achieved the rank of Emerald last week, so I'm really excited about that. She also has been a coach for a month and bought her summit ticket today, which made me just like so excited. So way to go, Rachel. Really proud of you. That's an awesome thing. I have Lena, who is also popping Emerald tomorrow. Huge deal for her. I have, let's see, Ashton. Ashton came back, as you guys all know, and she's been taking it by storm. She's already back to Emerald 3, and she's on the Success Club board and pushing. We have Alicia, who will be regaining her diamond status tomorrow. We're so proud of her. She pushed so hard for that. When we were in Punta Cana, she literally looked at me and I was like, when are you going to get back? And she goes, May 11th. And I was like, all right, go for it. And she did. So she did it in 2 weeks. I'm so super proud of her. And she did it by advancing her spouse account to Emerald. So she's a second account now at Emerald, making her a diamond coach. And you should have seen what we went through yesterday to make that happen. So way to go. I'm super proud of you. Rebecca is also regaining her diamond back tomorrow. We have Emily, who is literally one person away from popping diamond tomorrow. So everybody just really like cheer her on. I don't think she's on here tonight, but we're really excited about that. And because I see Stacy's name, Stacy's a new coach on our team, and literally put up her coming out post yesterday and signed somebody up like the next hour. So way to go, Stace. We're excited that you're here. That's, I think I covered it, for heaven's sake. I don't even know. But another thing about Rachel, now that I see her, Rachel is a first month success starter. So even though she purchased her summit ticket for this year, if she hits Success Club this month, which she's on the board, and next month, she's going to next year's summit for free. So that is pretty freaking awesome too. So I'm excited about that. Way to go, girl. Sharing that call with Carl Deichler, and she's pushing for that free ticket. So anybody else have anything? Good. Okay. I think that, okay, just a couple of housekeeping things. I noticed that you guys all we're starting to write in the Misfit Legion page, like what track you're on and what workout you picked for Summit. I do have a shirt order form in our team page. If you want a shirt for Summit, even if you're not going to Summit, you can still order one. I'll ship it to you. But obviously I would like you to be at Summit, but make sure you guys get that done by next Friday, because I have to submit it to the girl at Etsy, because it's going to take her a little while. She custom made them for us, which if you guys saw the sketch of it, oh my God, I'm like freaking obsessed with those shirts. So really excited about that. Also make sure, I also put a poll in our team page. I need to know who is going to Summit, just because Zach and I are doing something for you guys. So I need the final count on that, just so I know who's all going to be there for that. And I think that's it. I think that's all I had to say. Okay, so I want to get into, I kind of asked her last minute, but because I was literally on the surge, I don't know if you guys were on the surge last week, but I was on the surge last Thursday. And I knew Nicole because she is if you guys remember Elizabeth Harkey, she's like your like grandma coach is what she is pretty much. But she's one of Elizabeth's coaches. And I knew Nicole and I knew some of her story, but being on the Surge was the first time that I was like sitting there, like pretty much in tears, just kind of listening to you speak, Nicole, and really didn't realize, like, I knew you went through so much, but it was just like hearing it in your voice. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know my team needs to hear this. Like, I knew that you guys could benefit from this because this girl has been through, I guess to say the least, hell and back. And to come out the way that she is and has, is just so admirable. And I got the pleasure of meeting her for the first time at NLC. So I actually got to meet her at Beachbody's headquarters, which was super awesome. And she's just as amazing in person as she is on through the Zoom box. So Nicole's a 4-star diamond coach. She's full-time. So she left the corporate world. And she loves to live with intention. I love when she gave me that as one of her accolades. She built a 6-figure business, and that is freaking phenomenal. And she did it because of kind of her inspiration comes from what she's going to be talking about tonight. But this allows her, she's always had this dream of traveling the world. And this allows her to do that. And I love following her on Facebook because you get to watch her literally travel everywhere. And it's super cool. So I'm not going to give any more of your story away. I want you to take it away. But thank you so much for coming on and sharing. And I'm super excited to hear it again.
And it sounds like you have a team of like serious hustlers. So way to go, guys. That's a lot of recognition, and it's an exciting time of year going into Summit too. So it sounds like you guys all have that drive to be recognized, which is huge. So kudos to you. That's awesome. So my story, I kind of want to start by saying I am someone who never really thought I had a story. So wherever you guys are in your coaching journey, you know, you might think you don't have a story, but I can tell you that you do. And I can tell you that it's something that you're going to look back with time and kind of just be in awe with how much this opportunity can change you if you're open to it. And so I'm never someone who, I am not comfortable talking about myself at all, which is probably why, you know, Kelsey hasn't heard my whole story until last week. This is something that I'm really starting to step out of my comfort zone with, because I've come to realize, and what you are going to come to realize too, is that your story is really powerful no matter where you are or what you've been through, whether you're just starting to, you know, work on your fitness journey, or whether you are figuring out who you are, or whether you're starting a business, wherever you are, it's an inspiration and a chance to be a light to somebody else. And that's kind of what this is all about. So I just want you guys to know that if you're in that timid, nervous place, I promise you, like, this is a chance for you to shine. And if nothing else, it's a chance for you to kind of be a light for others, which in and of itself is pretty amazing. So with that being said, my story, it has a lot of twists and turns. And like Kelsey said, I kind of feel as though I've been knocked down quite a bit my whole life. And I have never been anyone who really thought I was anyone of any significance, which can sound kind of harsh, but it's kind of true. And I've always struggled with self-doubt and self-worth. And so for me to talk about myself or feel as though anyone would want to hear my story just kind of seemed like a ridiculous thought. So that is the first thing I kind of want to say is, yes, this business has allowed me to kind of build a business while traveling the world, which I will touch on. But more than anything, this business has taught me to embrace my own self-worth. And so this goes back to kind of like my childhood. And I'm going to share with you guys like the twists and turns of my story, because I think it's important to show how this opportunity is something that can be with you at so many different phases of your life. It's something that, you know, when I try to summarize what Beachbody has done for me, it's really hard because it's not only changed my whole life, but it's really given me life. And that is something that's really deep and profound to say, but and I didn't believe it truthfully until recently, but when I look back now, I'm like, holy shit, where would I be without this opportunity? I have no idea. So I am a 3-time cancer survivor. I am 31 years old, and it's still really hard to believe that, and it gives me goosebumps, and I get terrified because, you know, there's nothing really quite like the fear that comes with getting that news and not knowing what the outcome's going to be, and kind of, you know, having to ask that question of, you know, am I going to die? Like, that is a deep question that I hope nobody ever has to face until, you know, you are old and happy and married and have kids and all of that good stuff. But so, you know, that is something that has taught me how precious life is, but it's also taught me kind of how to make the most of life. And this opportunity has helped me to do that. So I'm going to take you guys back to the beginning a little bit of how I got to where I am now and how this can involve your entire life. So I mentioned that I don't have much self-belief. So I had a really tough childhood. My mother was involved with tons of demons, and we moved from house to house, and my father wasn't in the picture, and I had to learn really young how to grow up and take care of myself. I think I've come to realize at a young age I had to develop a survivor mindset. It was just, how do I get out of the situation I'm in and get to something better? That was my only drive, was to become more than what my mother was, as harsh as that sounds. And so I started working as soon as I could. So when I was 14, I was working at bars and restaurants and doing whatever I could to make money to just get myself out of where I was. And so at a young age, I became kind of a workaholic. That was how I identified myself. That was how I found my true self-worth. I felt as though in order to be accepted, like, it was something I could control in my life. There was so much I couldn't control, but I could work. I could give it my best. I could earn income, and I could, get myself out of where I was living and try to become something better. So that was what I did really early on, is I worked. There wasn't really much else about me. When people would ask about me, they're like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I have to work. So I went to college, and I worked 3 jobs through college. And after that, I got a job right away. And this job, I kind of had this vision. I thought I found my dream job. I was really excited to get into this company and to start working with them. And I gave them my all. I worked days, nights, weekends, you name it, because I saw the potential. If I gave my all to this company, I would not only feel as though I had significance and worth, but I could move up with them and continuously become more than what I was. So around my second year with them, I had my first scare with melanoma. And so this was a time when I kind of hit a rock bottom in terms of confidence. So I'm a girly girl at heart, and I have never played athletic sports. I never had anyone encourage me when I was younger. So it was really hard for me to kind of figure out how to feel good on my own, right? And so as superficial as this might sound, melanoma, I loved being blonde and I loved being tan, and that made me feel good. Like, we all have our little things, and all of a sudden that had to change. And so I dyed my hair jet black. I got extensions. I had an identity crisis. It was not pretty, but it was the first time I started to realize that I didn't really know who I was, and I didn't really know what to do with myself or how to feel good about myself. And so I was at a point where I really needed something to give me that boost. And ironically enough, I ordered P90X off of an infomercial. This was way before I started coaching. And this gave me a win that I so badly needed. It taught you, I fell in love with fitness because what it does is, I'm sure you guys can all relate to this, is it teaches you how to work on yourself, right? It teaches you, without having to compare yourself to anyone else, when you have that low self-confidence or you have no athletic ability, whatever it might be, you're doing it in the privacy of your own home, and it's allowing you to set goals for yourself that carry over from your body to your mind, and it gives you a boost, right? It helps you feel good from the inside out. So I fell in love with fitness there, and that gave me a little bump up in my life, and it helped me at work and all that good stuff. So for a while it was good. It was helping me kind of learn to embrace who I am, and that happiness that comes from the inside as opposed to external factors like the sun or blonde hair. So a little while later, my mom passed away. And so I mentioned that my mom was kind of I hate to say this and it sounds terrible, but one of my big goals in life is to be anything other than my mom. And it's harsh to say that, but in a positive light, she also gave me a lot of the drive that I have. So I can't take that away from her, but her passing away, it kind of made me realize she wasted her life a lot, which was hard to see. And so that opened my eyes to, the question of what is my purpose? And I don't know if any of you guys have ever faced that question of what your purpose is, or maybe you're there now, and that is a deep question. And if you can't figure that out, it kind of eats at your soul a little bit, right? And so I started to have all these questions. I had face cancer. My mom passed away. What am I doing with my life? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? And it was kind of waking me up in life, if you will. And so at that point, my coach had kind of started peppering me about coaching. And I decided to give it a chance because at this point I had already fallen in love with P90X, and I was like, sure, let's try Shakeology, let's try another fitness program, and let's see where it can go. And I liked the idea of being able to get that fulfillment of helping people. So that kind of became my part-time little hobby. My chance to have that sense of fulfillment and purpose was to help people have that transformation and fall in love with fitness the way that I have. That's where it started. It was really nothing more at that point. Fast forward a couple more months and I get my second round of melanoma. And at this point, I'm like, what the hell is going on? I just keep getting hit. And at this point, I really started to question, am I happy? You start to look at your life differently, and you start to realize how precious time is, and you start to really think things through. And so at this point, I was at a point in my career where I was managing the East Coast. I owned a house. I was in a really happy relationship, but there was still something off, and I couldn't figure what was off. And I still didn't feel good about myself. And now looking back on it, it's because that work was still kind of about, work. I still didn't figure out who I was or what made me come fully alive. And so my grandmother, I had a tough childhood. My grandmother was really my shining light in life. You know, she made sure that I went to really good schools. Everything I am and everything I've done is because of her, to make her proud. If it wasn't for her, I can't imagine where I would be or what my life would have turned into. And so she called me out on it at this point because she could see that I wasn't happy and that I was bored and that I was almost in cruise control, you know, like I was in that survivor mindset of doing what I thought I was supposed to do as opposed to what like I really wanted to do or what made me happy. And so I felt kind of empty inside. And she called me out on it, and she was like, "I want you have drive, you have passion. Like I want you to come to me weekly with updates on different things you can do with your life. Like it's time to do something." And I don't know if she knew, but her health was in really not in a good place. And literally like day later, it took a rapid spiral downwards, and she had multiple strokes, and she lost her ability to speak. And so our next couple of months became much, much different. You know, our priorities were all about her. And so she raised me to be very independent and very strong. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever lost anyone or seen anyone you've cared about go through cancer and the process of dying. And it makes you crumble. And for someone who has never been able to accept help or ask for help or know what help is, I would have done anything to help her. And so this opened my eyes to that, to the power and the passion of what it can be like to take people's pain away, you know, to help people get past the tough times in their life, to become something more. And so that kind of grew from that area. And when she passed away, my whole world was turned upside down. And I had not only like the loss of her, but now I had this weight on my shoulders too, that she made me feel as though I was capable of more and I wasn't living up to my full potential, and that I had to figure out what I wanted to do. And so at that point, you know, my coach Liz, she was having success, and so I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take it serious. And this is when I decided to treat it like a business. And this is when things really started to change for me, because when you decide to treat this as a business, it truly transforms your whole life. So it was at that point that I was able to, you start focusing on yourself, right? And you figure out who you are and the ways that you can grow and the way that you can elevate your life in order to elevate other people's lives. And it also allows you to help people. And so that was when I kind of like decided. And then 2 weeks later, my company restructured and I got laid off. And it was like a sick joke. And I was like, what is going on? But at that point, this is when I realized that my whole self-worth had been built around something that really was not anything in my control or me at all. Here was this company that I thought was this amazing company, my dream job, that I had given so much of my time to. That was like my number one priority for years. And literally they called me in that day and they laid me off. And I didn't get 2 weeks notice. I had a severance package, yes, but I was completely disposable to them. And I had just lost my grandmother, and I had just gone through all this stuff in my life, and they could care less, you know? And so that was a really big eye-opener for me in terms of the things. I was never going to work for somebody else again. You know, there is nothing quite like putting in all this effort if it's not going to be directly related to your own reward, you know, to treat something as your own if it's not your own. And so I decided therein that day I was going all in, and I didn't care what it was going to take. I was determined to not only build a business of my own that was going to help people, but that would never make people feel disposable. And so I kind of want to touch base on that for a little bit too, because this is about building a team, right? And so I say that I was at a position when I was younger where I never had anyone who believed in me. And so as you're building a team, I think the beautiful thing about Beachbody is that we teach people, we believe in people until they learn to believe in themselves, right? And so you build this culture on your team that's all about lifting people up. We are virtually all volunteers when we get started. You know, we don't have to be here. Each of you guys are choosing to be here because you know that there is something more in yourself. You know that you're capable of more. You know that you want more for your life. And that's amazing. Like, that's truly amazing. But with that being said, your teams are also doing the same. And I think what's really cool that we give people is when you go to a job, you're expected to show up. You don't get any sign of gratitude or appreciation or anything. Like, make people feel appreciated. That's what this is about, right? So it became for me this passion to build this team, this place of positivity that was all about empowering people, making them feel appreciated, making them feel part of something. And that's when I tapped into connection, you know, like true connection that you can have with people. And that's where your story becomes really powerful, because when you can kind of start to share your story and where you've been through and realize that your pain I don't think our pain is our purpose, but I think our pain can have purpose, and that it can be a light for other people to get through where they are. And so when you kind of let that down and you share yourself, you connect with people on such a deeper level that you're able to truly bond and help them see something more in themselves and learn to believe in themselves. And so at that point, you know, I became fully involved in personal development, which I'm sure you guys talk about and hear about all the time. Personal development has changed my life. That is the biggest lesson that I think we have as a Beachbody coach, is that it teaches us to make our own growth, our own self-awareness, overcoming our own insecurities. a priority so that we can help other people do the same. And that's huge. And so I kind of joke, the last 2 years I've been living out like my eat, pray, love here. So I started my business, and then that relationship I was in for 7 years, the month after I got laid off and I had like moved to Florida to be with him, I found out he was keeping some secrets from me with money and drugs and everything else, which are non-negotiables for me. So I had to end that, but this was like the first person I let in. And so at that point, I was like building the business and channel my energy, but I knew I had to find something more for myself too. Like I had to focus on my own self-worth and figure out who I was. And so I love to travel, and my grandmother loved to travel. And for me, I feel so connected and so inspired, and I feel as though she's with me as I travel. So being able to take this business with me and truly build it while traveling the world has been such a gift, because it's like she's there with me, and I know that she's proud of what I'm doing. I know that we're changing lives, and it's truly amazing. And that is something that very few other industries can give you, is that freedom over your time and that flexibility over your time. And while that's great, I kind of want to get to like the biggest recent, at this point I was still kind of in this self-discovery phase, and I didn't fully realize the power of what we have, the power of what we give people with this opportunity. So finally got back on my 2 feet, and I felt as though I was good. The business was going well, and I found out that I had cancer for the 3rd time. And at this point, it was like a serious punch in the face. I didn't know how much more I could take. And I was knocked down, and I won't lie, I went to like a really dark place, and I was depressed, and I just had thoughts of like, what's the point? But as soon as I had that thought, like it was kind of like my final wake up call. And for me, I realized, because of, the way fitness has taught me to work on my mindset, and the way that personal growth has taught me to make your self-care, getting to know what you need, making what you need a priority. I knew I kind of had to take a step back. And also because I had built my business to where I could take a little step back and not only work on me, but I realized, in those moments, what means the most to you? Like, where do you want to spend your time, right? And so I was able to do what I had to do to get through that without a concern for time off or finances or any of that headache that comes with, a job where you have to report to someone. But the biggest power of that is when I got through it, I had this whole new sense of appreciation and gratitude, because I don't think I would have gotten through these last years if it wasn't for the fundamentals that we get from this business, from this opportunity. How it teaches you to work on yourself, and how it teaches you to constantly find positive solutions and to persevere, and there's going to be tough times, but those tough times are truly the time that make you stronger, and those are the times that make you help something more in yourself. And everyone in life has those tough times. And so if you can be a person who can still power through that, you can be a light to help somebody else get through that. And more than anything, like I said, we do only get one life. And I know that is very deep, and that's hard to kind of wrap your head around. But if you can kind of think about, if you were to, God forbid, get that news, right? Imagine if you could have the freedom to truly make the most of that time. Like what means the most to you? That is what you are working towards. That is what this opportunity gives you. This gives you true freedom and control over the uncontrollable in life. There is always going to be uncontrollable and things that are going to try to knock you down. God forbid, some of your children have health issues, or you do, or your significant other gets laid off, or you get laid off. This gives you some time. If you put in the heart, the hustle, the discipline, the dedication, it gives you some control over your time and over building your life around the things that mean the most to you, so that you don't ever get into that situation where you are knocked down and you cannot get back up. This is about continuously getting back up so that you can live the life that that makes you feel full of energy and vibrant, and as though you are the person you are supposed to be. And I think that's really amazing, that that's what we give people. And it takes time, and you have to go through the journey, and you have to embrace it. But if you can embrace it, it is something that can truly change your life. And so, kind of I'm rambling here, I'm sorry, but I have made my team mission. I love this, and it's something that I think is kind of overall for, we all do the same thing in essence. But I think our role as coaches is to live in a way that our actions inspire greatness in others, right? We are supposed to be people that believe in people until they learn to believe in themselves. And ultimately, we're helping people find something more in themselves so that they can have a little bit of control over their life, to make the most of their life and live it in a way that they will never have those regrets or anything down the line where, life is taken away from them, or, they can live with intention and integrity and do the things that make them feel alive. And you have success in this when you are true to yourself, when you learn who you are, when you embrace your true self-worth, and when you do the things that make you light up. This is about building a business around your passions. You connect with people when you share your story, when you can share what lights you up. And so that's kind of my message to you guys, is regardless of where you are, the struggles that you feel as though you're going through, it's a roller coaster, and there's always going to be things that try to knock you down. But if I can tell you anything, it is so worth seriously, continuously to fight through those tough times, because the toughest of times, I truly believe, are what lead to some of our brightest of times. And while it might be hard to see that when you're in it and you just want to give up and roll over and cry or whatever you want to do, if you can keep going through, the person you will come through on the other end, you will look back, 2 to 3 years from now and just be in awe, and also so grateful for the life that this opportunity allows you to kind of bring about, because it's a life of true freedom, true strength, and true intention. And so that is kind of my message for you guys. And I don't know if you have any questions, or if you want me to chime in on anything else, Kelsey, or let me know what you guys are thinking.
No, that was seriously, I mean, I just, like, every time I hear your story, it just really makes me, like, take a step back. And I don't know how you guys feel, but it makes me take a step back and be like, man, that no didn't really suck that bad, Like, I just feel like there's such a bigger picture here, And I guess my question for you is, you're going, I mean, to say it lightly, you were diagnosed with cancer, right? I mean, in the middle of building this business. And I just want to know, like, what made you still do this? Like, at that time, it was like your opportunity. Like, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like that would be the perfect time to step away, right? Like, to quit and to put everything else on the back burner. But what made you say, like, hey, instead of quitting, I'm going to turn this into a 6-figure business?
And so that's changed a bit with time. And that's something else I want to say, is your why is going to continuously change, right? Initially, it was because I needed to feel good about myself. I started this business like for a very selfish reason. I needed to I needed to find my own inner strength. I needed to find a way to continuously fight through this, because I refused to be beat down. So that was where it was. And it was completely about that, like finding my place to feel good about myself and be someone who is proud and confident and all that good stuff, right? I was kind of a challenger. And then it became about kind of my grandmother's legacy and realizing how precious life is. And I wanted to have some sort of significance in this world. I wanted to feel as though I was contributed something. And so it was really to, like, the big fire that kind of lit this for me was to make her proud and carry out something for her. And then it became, I had no choice. I had to earn a livelihood, and this was something that was available to me. But truthfully, the powerful thing now that keeps me going, and when you just said the thing on the no, right? We all get no's. They suck. Let's be honest, right? Every once in a while it stings when you get that no, especially if you see so much potential in people. But I see someone said, a whole lot of stuff in perspective, and it's true. Try to take a step back in those moments and look at the perspective and realize what you're really giving people. I'm at the point now where if people tell me no, I am very confidently kind of able to kind of say, you are crazy, right? And I believe in what this offers. And yes, I've gone through a lot and it's changed my life. But you also have to have that belief in where this is taking you. Whatever is your reason why you're here, continuously remind yourself of that. Where do you want to be 3 to 5 years from now? And know that you're going to get there, and know that what you're offering people is a chance to be there with you, and to have that freedom over their life, and to know that, this is something that we're giving them. It's something that, you can't really get anywhere else. I hate to say like the American dream, but it kind of is. And so for me, it was kind of at that point, it wasn't fair of me not to work the business, because it had helped me so much in my life. And now I did have this team of people that were looking to me for guidance, and I so badly want them to be able to share in this with me. But also, because it's changed my life so much, it's not fair of me not to share it with even more people now, because I know, God forbid, anyone goes through that type of situation where they might get knocked down. I know that this will help them continuously fight through and find their inner strength to not give up and not roll over and think, I'm just going to quit. Because when it comes down to it, whether you're facing cancer or whether, you are facing self-doubt, or whether you have a lot of weight you want to lose, right? It's going to be hard, and it's going to be an uphill battle, but you still only get one chance at this thing. Okay. And that's deep and it's true, but it's legit. And a lot of great readers. I don't know if any of you guys have ever read anything by Robin Sharma, but I love him, and he talks all about kind of living with the end in mind. And it's a hard thing to think about, but when you start to live that way, it changes your whole life, and it raises the expectations on your day to day, not just with this business, but with your family and with your relationships and with you're impacting your community and everything. It just challenges you to be a better person. And what this opportunity gives you is it gives you the chance to truly make all of those areas of your life a priority so that you can make the most of them and live life with intention, so that at the end, you built your life around those things that mean the most and you won't have those regrets. And it teaches you to fight and realize that, you know, you are worth so much and your story can change so many lives, and that everything that you are going through and all the work that you are doing now, it is just molding you into such an amazingly strong, powerful, impactful person. And it's still worth kind of bearing through those no's and knowing that each no is bringing you one step closer to that life that you can totally transform.
That's amazing. Thank you. That's amazing. You guys have any questions for her? Anybody that's going through something maybe similar to that would like her advice on it? Go ahead, Katie.
Well, first of all, I have to say that your goal to travel the world, that's my goal. So like when Kelsey asked me like, why do I want to do this full time? That's exactly why. It's always been my major goal. So that's awesome. I relate to that a lot. But I guess my question, I mean, I've been through some really tough times and, you know, probably not comparative to what you've been through, but, you know, just, I think we all deal with shit in our own way. And my question to you is, when you're personally going through stuff, how do you deal with that with your team? Like, I just recently hit Diamond. I have 4 active coaches under me now. So I'm like just now really kind of getting into that, where I now have people who are relying on me. And, you know, some days they're better than others, and sometimes I'm rocking it, and some days I'm like, you know, what am I doing? So when you've personally gone through like some really tough stuff, how have you dealt with that when you know you have people who are relying on you?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is you kind of have to be upfront with them, right? And I think that's a chance for you to lead by example, because there is never going to be a perfect time, and there's never going to be a situation where everything is just exactly how you want it to be. That's just not life, you know, and it's going to be the same for them as well. So I think the best thing you can do to them is be honest and tell them, you know, this is where I am, this is what I'm going through. I might need your help a little bit. Sometimes asking for that help, that makes them, especially for new coaches, and maybe this is just me, but what I found was that initially it's really hard to like see that success, right? But when you know that like somebody else is relying on you, you're contributing to something directly bigger than yourself and you're like your own small team, like that fires you up. You're like, yes, like I have meaning here, like I have significance. What I'm doing is going to be noticed. So that's the first thing, is like own up to where you are and where you're kind of the struggles you have, and let them know that you're kind of, that's your team community is about. It's about lifting each other up, and you're going to need them to lift you up a little bit through this time possibly, right? And then also, if you tell them what you're going through, let them know that this is about giving the best where you are, right? We can always feel as though we do more, but you're going to do your best where you are each current moment as you go through this. And so if you tell them what you're going through, and if you are still showing up and you're still working, that is so inspiring to your team. And so like they have said to me, like, I literally don't feel as though I can ever make excuses, because like, even though you're going through this, like you're still showing up. But then you know what I say? I tell them I'm showing up because of you, because it's not just about me. And so that's the bigger thing that you have to realize, because I think that's where it shows the impact of you are part of something bigger than yourself. Like, even though this is your own business, like we're all in this together, right? And so it's not about you kind of sitting back and coasting and taking it easy. It's you're showing up because they show up, and they show up because you show up. And that's where it's the team. And for me, that was a big thing. You know, like I have these amazing women who trust me, and they trust me, and like these people that want to bring about amazing things in their life, like travel the world, you know. I can't just like completely shut down. And so sometimes that is like a serious motivator for you too on those tough days, to kind of keep going and doing what you can. And that's the biggest thing, is always know that like your self-care has to be number one, but remember that they're there for you and they're looking up to you, and the way that you perform or the way that you give your best in those tough situations, that is so inspiring to them. And that's what's going to make them realize and see the worth and where you're going.
That's awesome. Thank you.
That was a great answer. I like just getting all emotional thinking about, like, as you were saying that, because it's so true that it's like, I feel like as like a leader of a team, like you feel like you have to put on your like hard hat all the time. You got to pretend like you're strong and that you don't go through all this stuff, and your team doesn't see, you don't want your team to see you fall apart. And I think that's something I struggle with big time. And I'm glad that you kind of brought that up. So it made me start thinking about it, is that I'm always over here like, okay, I got this. But like, meanwhile, like some days I'm literally just like a chicken with my head cut off, and I'm just like, I can't do this today. And it's just, I think that's so important to say that, is like, we're all not perfect, you know, we all have stuff going on. And I love that you said it's just like communicating with the team, because it's so true that when I check into my team page every day, when I check into my challenge groups, like I'm happier. Like I know that they're counting on me, and I still show up every day, even when I don't want to. I might be sick in bed and I'm still on my phone talking to people because I just love what I do. So I think it comes down to, with you, Nicole, is like, even though it just comes off to me that just like you love what you do so much that even despite what life's throwing at you, like you keep going. I think that's just extremely inspiring. Does anybody else have anything else they want to ask her or say to her? Was this a good call? A needed call? That's it too. I just like literally text Zach in the other room. So I wrote this thing down, and it kind of reminded me of, like, I wrote this thing down on my personal development today. So I listen to Audible. So like I have sticky notes all over the house because I can't highlight. So I have to write them down. And I just put these on this clipboard today. And as you were talking, I was like, you have to bring this clipboard in, because I literally just wrote this down and it reminds me of you so much. 2 quotes. 1, there is no right time. There's only right now. And I love that. That just reminded me of your talk. And also, waiting until you're ready is the same as expecting it not to happen. And those 2 quotes, I wrote it down because I was thinking about like how many of us are always like, well, I'll do it when I'm ready. You're never going to be ready, right? If Nicole waited till she was ready, you know, she probably wouldn't have gone all in, right? You were never really ready, were you? I mean, like, shit, girl, every 2 months you're getting something thrown at you. You're never going to be ready, you know? But it's basically, I love how like this woman that I'm reading the 5-second rule. If you guys haven't read that, oh my God. Oh my gosh. I'm listening to it on Audible, and she's just funny. So it's a great book. But her like saying it's like the same thing as expecting it not to happen. We validate our ideas by pursuing them. So there's never going to be a right time. There never will be. God forbid we don't, like, no one has to go through some of the stuff that Nicole had to go through. You're going to go through something. I mean, we're going through life, right? You're going to face times of like, I mean, I know for me, I've dealt with depression my entire life, and that shit sneaks in whenever you don't want it to, man. It will come out of nowhere. Or you feel like you have to go lay in a bed for 3 days. Like, I go through that too. But the difference is that you have to just keep going, because shit's going to continue hitting the fan. But people need you. People do need you. They actually do. Nicole, Katie asked a question in the comment section for you.
My favorite book by Robin Sharma. I love The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. That's a really good one. He also has The Leader with No Title. That's like a really, really good one. The Surf, The Saint, The CEO. He has a couple, but I would start with The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And this is kind of, like feel good, like perspective type personal development. He also does like the monthly coach, like if you go to his website, where he'll send you just like monthly, like little short videos. His videos are pretty awesome. He's an amazing speaker. But I'm a big fan of him because he's all about kind of living with intention. And, that's a big thing. You want to show up with intention in each of your conversations with people and your challenge groups and your team. Like, that's the stuff that makes you a person of integrity. And that's the stuff that makes you someone people want to join and be part of. So, yeah, he's awesome.
Awesome. All right, last call. Anybody have anything they want to ask or say? This is your time, your one and only time. Okay. Well, Nicole, this was honestly fantastic. And I know, like I said, a lot of the things you're saying like hit the nail on the head for me too. And I really needed to hear it. And I hope you guys know and you take from this is that you guys enter the next couple of weeks of this month and going into Summit and going to the end of the year, just living with intention, like she just said, and going after what you want. Because I can tell you all right now that every single box on here, you guys will have probably 150 problems before the end of the year that you're going to face. And I can honestly also say that some people will handle those problems and stick around and others will not. But you have to be the fighter. The people that are usually on the calls at the beginning of the year are the ones that are not there at the end of the year. And a lot of them aren't. And the only reason is because they just weren't willing to fight through the hard times. We'll all go through them. Live with intention, guys. Fight for what you want. Go through what, like, I got the best quote I ever heard is, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't give it 5 minutes. I actually have it written on a sticky note in my, because I literally, if I'm pissed, I'll go scream in a pillow, and then I'll like kick and scream for a little bit, and then 5 minutes is over, and I set my timer, and it's over, and I'm like, yeah, I'm over it. Because you guys, we need to keep moving forward. So, all right, guys. Well, it was so good seeing you guys tonight. I will see you next Wednesday. For those of you that are pushing for goals tonight, I'm up with you. Just keep me posted. I'm not going to sleep until you do. So you guys know Wednesday nights, my fave. All right, guys. Well, congratulations, everybody that's rank advancing tomorrow. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks for having me.